Hello, and welcome to Forever Strong Seniors. I'm thrilled to have you here today. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever considered that some of your daily habits might be silently undermining your health and happiness, especially in your golden years? It's a thought-provoking idea, isn't it? Sexual health is a vital component of our overall well-being, yet it's often shrouded in silence, particularly as we age. But here's the truth. Maintaining a fulfilling and safe intimate life between the ages of 65 and 80 is not only possible, but also immensely beneficial. In today's video, we're going to uncover 7 habits that could be detrimental to your sexual health and overall vitality. By identifying and addressing these behaviors, you can enhance your quality of life and continue to enjoy meaningful connections. So, grab a comfortable seat, perhaps a cup of tea, and let's delve into these crucial insights together. You see, as we age, we tend to focus a lot on aches and pains, blood pressure, maybe even cholesterol, but very few people talk openly about what happens to intimacy and connection in these later years. The truth is, staying sexually active in your 60s, 70s, and even beyond can be a beautiful part of life. But just like any other part of your health, it requires care, attention, and yes, sometimes a little adjustment in habits. Let me tell you about George. He's 68 now, retired, and you'd think he's got it all figured out. Loves gardening, walks his dog every morning, never misses his morning coffee. From the outside, George looks like someone who's doing great, but for the longest time, he avoided the doctor. Not because he was scared, but because he simply felt fine. Why go if nothing's wrong, he used to say. Well, it wasn't until his daughter gently insisted that he finally went in for a checkup. And there it was, high blood pressure. A condition that was slowly creeping in without a single warning sign. What George didn't realize was how much this quiet little issue was affecting other parts of his life, especially his energy levels, his sleep, and yes, even his intimate life. With proper medication and some changes in his routine, George started to feel more like himself again, more connected, more alive. You see, one of the biggest mistakes many people make after 65 is skipping their regular health checkups. They think, I'm old, this is normal. But let me tell you, what's common isn't always what's normal. Sometimes, a simple visit to your doctor can change the entire course of your health. And when your body feels good, every other part of your life, including intimacy, feels better too. But that's just one part of the story. There's another quiet mistake that slips under the radar, especially among those re-entering the dating world later in life. I want to introduce you to Margaret. She's 70, widowed for several years, and recently met someone special at a community book club. You could see the sparkle in her eyes whenever she talked about him. For the first time in a long time, she felt excited, wanted, and hopeful. But in all the joy and newness, Margaret overlooked something important: safe sex. Like many others, she believed STIs were something only younger people had to worry about. At my age, she thought, come on, that ship has sailed. But sadly it hadn't. After a few months of dating, Margaret started experiencing symptoms she couldn't quite explain. A visit to her doctor confirmed it. She had contracted an infection. The emotional toll was just as heavy as the physical one. The relationship took a pause, and Margaret was left feeling embarrassed and frustrated. That experience, though painful, became a turning point. Margaret learned that sexual health doesn't retire with age. In fact, staying informed, using protection, and having honest conversations with your partner are acts of care, not only for yourself, but for the person you're with. It's not about shame or awkwardness. It's about mutual respect, safety, and continuing to live fully and confidently. And when you think about it, don't we deserve that? After all these years, after all life has thrown at us, shouldn't we feel safe, empowered, and comfortable in our own skin? So after Margaret's experience, many people started asking the same quiet question. Am I doing everything I can to protect and preserve the most personal parts of my health? And that question brings us to something that's often overlooked, not because it's rare, but because it creeps in so silently. Let's talk about how your lifestyle, especially a sedentary one, plays a much bigger role than most people realize. You might think, well, I'm not climbing mountains anymore, so what's the point? But staying physically active isn't about running marathons. It's about movement, gentle, consistent movement that keeps the blood flowing, your joints happy, and yes, your energy and confidence alive in the bedroom too. Take Harold, for example. He's 74, spends most of his day watching TV, reading the paper, and occasionally doing a bit of yard work. But over time, he started feeling sluggish, not just physically, but emotionally too. His wife, Nancy, noticed it as well. "You're not the same anymore," she'd say, half joking, half concerned. It turns out, Harold's body was reflecting his habits. Less movement led to lower stamina, and before he knew it, even light activities left him winded. That sluggishness extended into his private life too. Intimacy started to feel like effort, rather than something natural and joyful. Once Harold began adding just a simple daily walk around the block, followed by some light stretching, everything started to change. Not overnight, but gradually, his energy came back. He started to smile more. His confidence improved. And guess what? So did his connection with Nancy. You see, intimacy isn't just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about how you feel throughout the day. About yourself, about your body, about your connection to the world around you. When you move, your body responds with vitality. Your posture improves. Your mood lifts. And yes, your performance improves too, often more than any pill could promise. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about something a little more subtle, but just as damaging: emotional disconnect. Often, in long-term relationships or even new ones, we forget how important communication is. And I mean the real kind, honest, open, vulnerable. There's a story I often tell about Edith and James, a couple married for over 40 years. They'd raised children, gone through hard times, built a life together. But somewhere along the way, they stopped talking. Not the everyday talk. What's for dinner? How was your day? But the meaningful stuff. What they desired. What made them feel close. What made them feel distant. Edith once confided, "We sleep in the same bed, but I feel a mile apart from him." And James, he felt the same, but didn't know how to say it. It wasn't until a counselor gently helped them open up that they realized how many years they'd spent guessing what the other person wanted, instead of simply asking. Once that wall came down, the warmth returned. Not just in the bedroom, but in their smiles, their hugs, their shared stories. So if you're in a relationship, or even just beginning one, it's never too late to talk. Ask questions. Express your needs. Listen deeply. Because emotional intimacy fuels physical intimacy in ways that can't be measured. And sometimes, all it takes is a simple, sincere, "How do you feel about us lately?" to reopen a door you didn't even realize had quietly closed. So, we've talked about the body, the emotions, and how movement and conversation can breathe new life into our relationships. But now, let's take a closer look at something many people still treat lightly: alcohol. Yes, that glass of wine with dinner or a little brandy to help you sleep may seem harmless, even comforting. But here's the thing. After 65, your body doesn't process alcohol the way it used to. Let me tell you about Frank. At 72, he's the life of every neighborhood gathering. Funny, charming, always with a story and a full glass in hand. For years, Frank had a nightly ritual, a few drinks to unwind, loosen up, and feel like his old self again. But gradually, those few drinks turned into a habit. One he thought helped him relax, but in truth, it was draining him. What Frank didn't realize was that the alcohol, while easing his nerves in the moment, was also quietly working against him. It disrupted his sleep, made his blood pressure spike, and worse, it was interfering with his performance and emotional connection with his partner, Elaine. When Frank finally cut back, just a little at first, he noticed something surprising. He felt clearer, lighter, and more present. Elaine said it best. "It's like you came back to me." You see, alcohol may take the edge off anxiety, but it can also dull the very emotions and sensations that make intimacy meaningful. And that's a trade-off no one should make without thinking twice. And speaking of things that can quietly interfere, there's another topic we mustn't ignore: medications. As we get older, the number of pills in our weekly organizer tends to grow. Blood pressure meds, heart pills, antidepressants, even medications for sleep or chronic pain. All necessary, yes, but they often come with side effects that impact our most personal lives. Take Linda, for instance. At 69, she had just started a new medication for her arthritis. It worked wonders for her joints, but slowly, she began to notice changes. Lower libido, dryness, and a certain sense of detachment during moments of intimacy. She thought it was just part of aging. But when she spoke with her doctor, she learned that the medication was affecting her hormone levels. Together, they explored alternatives, adjusted dosages, even incorporated some natural remedies and lifestyle tweaks. Within weeks, Linda felt more herself again. Her relationship with her partner blossomed once more, not because of magic, but because she spoke up. The truth is, many people suffer in silence, blaming themselves or their age, when the real issue might be sitting right there in their medicine cabinet. That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about everything you're feeling. Not just what hurts physically, but emotionally and intimately as well. These conversations may feel uncomfortable at first, but they're the key to reclaiming control over your body and your happiness. You deserve to feel good, not just okay. And sometimes the answers are closer than you think. All it takes is the courage to ask the right questions. Now, as we begin to wrap up, there's one last habit that may surprise you. Not because it's loud or dangerous, but because it's so quiet, so subtle, that many people don't even notice it creeping into their lives. And that is letting shame, embarrassment, or outdated beliefs silence your needs. You see, many of us grew up in a time when talking about intimacy, especially in older age, was considered taboo. We were told to keep it private, keep it quiet, maybe even pretend it didn't exist. But that silence, it doesn't protect us. In fact, it often builds walls between us and the people who love us most. I once spoke with a woman named Diane. She's 76, kind eyes, strong spirit, but years of silence had taken a toll. She'd stopped expressing her feelings, her worries, her hopes, even her desires, because somewhere deep down, she'd internalized the message that after a certain age, those things didn't matter anymore, that they were somehow inappropriate or unimportant. But during a group conversation at her community center, Diane heard someone else speak up, someone just like her, who shared a similar struggle. That moment gave Diane the courage to speak, to open up, and it changed everything. She started having real conversations with her partner. They laughed more, held hands again, reconnected in a way they hadn't in years. And that's what I want to leave you with today. The reminder that your feelings, your desires, your connection to others, they never have an expiration date. They are valid, they are beautiful, and they deserve to be honored, just as much now as they did when you were 25. So if you've been holding back, waiting for the right time, to speak up, to check in with your doctor, to have that conversation with your partner, or even just with yourself, let this be your sign. Life after 65 can be full of energy, love, and yes, even romance. But only if we stop letting old habits and silent fears stand in the way. I'm so grateful you stayed with me until the end of this talk. If anything today spoke to your heart, even just a little, I'd love to hear from you. What's one habit or mindset you're ready to change or explore more deeply? Leave a comment down below. Your story might just inspire someone else who's quietly facing the same thing. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to check out the rest of our content here on Forever Strong Seniors. We talk openly, honestly, and kindly about the real things that matter as we grow older. There's always more wisdom to share and more joy to uncover. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and never stop believing that the best chapters might still be ahead.